Let's go.
All right. Richard, hello.
Hi, CD.
Fresh off making national news last week on the podcast here.
How about that?
Whoa. What? You just get people to tell the truth, and that's all that happened.
That's all that happened. And then you followed up on your radio show and we're talking about Pat Narduzzi.
Yeah.
You got him to double down.
No, I didn't get him to do anything. He just told the truth, which is what people were looking for, an outlet to tell the truth, and they found it right here. Yeah, that was pretty fascinating what happened last week.
It's pretty fascinating. We've invited Mr. Whipple to the show, who has not yet responded. And you're too young to remember Mr. Whipple squeezing the Charmin. But
no, I know that. I remember that. Absolutely remember that.
So I thought that was pretty funny. We will send him a case of Charmin if he appears.
You know, it got me thinking about everything. Pat Narduzzi saying, we would have beat Michigan State, and him saying about NIL and people being unhappy and this and that. In our business and what I do especially, we beg and want and need and yearn for people to tell the truth and not give you cliched answers. And then it seems like when they do tell you the truth, some people get bent out of shape. So you can't have it both ways. Do you want the truth or don't you?
You can handle the truth is the line, right?
Yeah.
You want the truth, you can't handle the truth. But yes, and I do think maybe sometimes mainstream media is a little restrictive for people. They're not as comfortable maybe saying, like with our format here. I mean, we're all friends. It's me, you, Pat. We're having a conversation. And I think maybe they're a little bit more guarded with mainstream media. I looked at, speaking, and not to segue directly yet, but I looked at some of the pictures from training camp arrival yesterday, and It's like a zoo. I mean, it's crazy. There's microphones pointed in everybody's face. It's really crazy. I don't know how that feels. I've never been in that much demand, but that kind of doesn't open the door for that intimate conversation that you and I had with Coach.
I'll tell you exactly how it feels, because it's been told to me, and it was told to me by Neil Walker, a mutual friend that we have that played for the Pirates, right? Yeah. He said to me, I said, what is it like? You have the cameras. And he said, it's simple. You ever go to the zoo? You're the guy inside, and it's like everybody's looking at you. It's the same thing.
Ooh, I'm not sure I'd like that.
Right. But if you look at it and juxtapose it and think of it in those terms, there's one person facing this way and everybody facing this way looking at him. It's the same thing. It's like you are the exhibit.
I'd be okay if I was the lion.
Yeah, right. I agree. But yeah, I saw that from yesterday too, from everything that happened at the arrival. Here's a question from that I've been thinking about long and hard.
Yeah.
Does attitude and a less showy arrival and the way you carry yourself and that sort of thing, and not showing up in a helicopter or a big production, does that do anything in terms of an on the field product? Does behavior like that and walking a straighter line, does that lead to more wins and losses?
I mean, that's culture. I don't know. I think there's culture, but then there's also tradition. And,
right.
And, I saw the video the Steelers released about training camp, and I thought it might be the music that was on any given Sunday. And I'm going to ask Danielle and Chelsea to find out if it was, because I'd like to use it. I really like it. But I like the video, and I really like the video when some of the players were saying, hey, this is what the Steelers of old, the ones that won the Super Bowls, this is exactly what they did. There is no reason to not want to do that. I mean, it was pretty cool. I really liked the way it was positioned, and I liked it all. So the arrival, I'm still like, last week we said to Coach, I'm a little old fashioned when it comes to that. So arriving in a helicopter and, stay home. And of course we know that was Antonio Brown.
Right. But people have shown up in big farm equipment. People have shown up and
Yeah.
had, big loud presentations. And I
Well,
always said, and I've gone back on myself. I've said before, that doesn't mean anything. What, you just show up and you play. And someone said to me, well, Belichick's teams never did that. And they won a lot of football games not doing that.
yeah, and that's my position. As I said, I'm more conservative. I'm more the Belichick type when it comes to X's and O's and business and the discipline of sports. And there's nothing that makes me feel so good when I see somebody, whether it's a receiver or running back, sprint 70 yards for a touchdown, and at the end in the end zone, he hands the referee the ball. That is badass to me. That really is. I just love that. That's like quiet confidence. That is really cool. I love it. So no, I'm not. Don't arrive in a John Deere. No, I know he did commercials for them, and that's great. But no, don't arrive in a John Deere. Don't arrive in a helicopter or anything else crazy. Just come to camp. Come to
Yeah.
camp. Work.
Quietly park your F-150 and just go about your business. I think that's the way to do it. Yes.
So are you at camp now?
No, I was there this morning. I came home. I'm going to go back tomorrow. And one concern, because I'm a positive guy, but I am concerned.
I know what it is.
Tyson Alualu.
I was going to say Minka.
No, Minka's not a concern because I think that there's time to get back, and it seemed rather innocuous. Tyson Alualu is 35 years old. He's coming off a knee injury, and his knee still, I don't know where it is. That said, they went and got Larry Ogunjobi to help with Tyson Alualu. The reason Larry Ogunjobi was available is because he failed a physical somewhere else.
Yeah.
That worries Richard, me. Talk me off the ledge here because this could be two guys that are dealing with lower body injuries that weigh a whole lot of pounds that they need to be healthy.
Well, I can't talk you off the ledge on it. I mean, I think it's a legitimate concern, but it could go either way. We could have the number one defense in the league if these guys stay healthy and if everybody stays healthy. And then, of course, you say, well, if, there's a lot of potentialities of the word if. But no, it's a legitimate concern. I mean, Tyson is fabulous when he's healthy. And I can't even pronounce his name. What's his name? Ogunjobi?
Ogunjobi, yeah.
Ogunjobi. I love him.
He's great.
Love him if he's healthy. But somewhere along the line, we did give him a 1-year contract. Right. So somewhere along the line, he did pass a physical. So for us, but he did have one. Wasn't it a $40 million one?
Yeah, with Chicago that he failed.
Yeah, he lost. So that's concerning. But man, if we can get him, if our defense can seriously be unbelievable this year, really can. And I'm telling you, and I'm going to make this bet. I am going to make this bet somewhere in a casino somewhere or online sports betting. I am betting the Steelers are going to win more than 9 games.
The bet, speaking of bet, and the world is betting everything because it's so easy to bet. You can make nominal bets, and it's just a nice sort of side thing to do and a nice hobby. The bet that I have found that I absolutely love, and it parlays with your bet pretty much. If you bet the Steelers are going to win 9 games, then no, I bet that Mitch Trubisky will be the comeback player of the year.
I mean, I like Mitch Trubisky. I like Kenny Pickett. I like both choices. But I've heard people say there's so much value. Chan Gailey spoke.
Yes.
Why did you allow him to speak?
He wasn't on my show. He wasn't on my show.
On your show.
No.
Oh, send him with Mark Whipple.
Wait a minute. Get this off your chest. You have this deep-seated, long-standing disdain for Chan Gailey? Tell me.
Wasn't he in Georgia somewhere?
Yes.
Okay. No. He can go with Mr. Whipple, and please don't squeeze the Charmin. But and then he comes back, and his comment was Cordell Stewart would have been successful in today's world. What? Did you see that comment?
I heard it. I think that he would have intrigued a lot of NFL teams. I think he would have been drafted really high. I I don't know if he would have been successful, but I think he would have been drafted higher, and I think a lot of teams would have looked at him and maybe plugged him in right away.
I think if he had the talent, he would have been good. He didn't have the talent, and therefore he wasn't good. But
he did say one thing of note, though, Chan Gailey did, that I took of deep value is if you have 3 quarterbacks in camp, you've got to make it a 2-horse race ASAP. You can't let that linger because of finite number of snaps, because you're taking snaps away from the second guy if you're the third guy,
yeah.
and you're just not going to carry on with 3 guys all that long. You've got to make a decision soon.
Yeah, that's the business side, and I get that. But then I read somebody from, I think it was Ramon Foster, said that Mason Rudolph is really a good quarterback and deserves a shot. And I'm sure, listen, these are not new looks they're getting with these guys. I think they know Mason Rudolph pretty well. So, I think that there's not a lot they need to see. But they do need to see Kenny Pickett, and they do need to see Mitch Trubisky.
You know what Mason Rudolph is? I figured this out. Mason Rudolph is the donut non-full-size spare tire. Mason Rudolph is that donut tire.
Is that how he's built, or is that
no? That's just what he is for a function. You use it only in case of emergency. You don't go very long with it. You put it on, and you only use it to get to the point to where you go get a real tire again as soon as possible. That's it. That's what Mason Rudolph is.
Do you like his arm? Do you think he can throw the ball well?
It's funny you say that because I was just texting with one of my friends. I don't know what happened to his arm between the time he was at Oklahoma State and now he's the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe it had to do with a Big 12 offense. Maybe it had to do with that just being 7-on-7 and throwing it. His arm looks to me like it got weaker from the time it was in college.
Yeah, I agree. And from the first year he was here.
Yes.
The first year he was here, when he threw the ball, I thought, who was the receiver that he went to school with?
James Washington.
James Washington. I mean, him and James Washington connected a couple really nice times. And I thought, wow, that's nice. Right over the shoulder to the sideline, deep patterns. It looked pretty nice. He threw a nice ball. But I agree, something's changed. And I don't know.
It looks like the ball that he throws is now pumped with helium. I don't get it. It doesn't zip the way that it used to.
It did. Something changed. You're right about that. We usually are on the same page on stuff like that. But yeah, no. But I mean, it doesn't even matter to me. I believe in the Steelers this year, regardless of their quarterback, because I know it's going to be one of the two. So regardless of the quarterback, I think Kenny Pickett would do well, and I think Mitch Trubisky would do well. So whatever it is, however it plays out. Now, again, I will say this. My one caveat, and I can't get him on the show, but my one caveat is Matt Canada.
Do you? Okay. And you said that a bunch of different times.
Because here's the thing. And I don't want to interrupt you.
No.
But that usually follows the word but. But I will. Here's the thing. We have heard Matt Canada only. You didn't see the real Matt Canada because of Ben's inability. I don't believe that. Ben could still throw that damn ball. And then I don't know that Ben really connected with Matt Canada. By a lot of people would have probably replaced Matt Canada after last year, right? I mean, some of those offensive calls were pedestrian.
Preposterous, especially in the first half of games.
I mean, honestly, it just was like, wait, we're in the NFL. Number 7 is a Hall of Fame quarterback. If he didn't have that ability, why would we put him in the position that we did? Mike Tomlin's a really smart guy. If Mike Tomlin didn't believe Ben had it, he wouldn't have been there. Okay? So Mike must have believed in him. That's number 1. And so when I hear, well, Matt Canada's offense this year is going to be – what is Matt Canada's offense? Yes, he worked with Kenny Pickett for a minute. I get it, at Pitt. And I think Kenny Pickett liked him, right? But they didn't even go through the season, I don't think.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Right. Then he
So
was at LSU and at Maryland and a bunch of
right.
different places. Right.
Right. So I just that's my caveat. That's my whole thing. Matt Canada. I think I'd love Chase Claypool if he can stay focused and get away from the juju shenanigans. And that brings up another point because I saw something yesterday that said our slot receiver, we're so weak in our slot receiver, and then it makes me crazy that we got rid of Juju because
I agree.
because I think Juju was in that position. He was hard as nails. He was tough as nails, hard as a rock. He was the guy in my opinion.
Okay. Well, then it
$8
leads to
million bucks.
this. I agree with you. I would have paid him.
Me too.
Then it leads to this because you're in management. You lead personnel. Mike Tomlin leads personnel. Art Rooney II leads personnel. Is essentially should Matt Canada be on the clock and on the hot seat from day one?
Yes.
Produce this year, or you don't coach next year.
100%.
Yeah.
But I don't need to, you don't need to threaten him like that.
Well,
it's the reality.
Maybe or maybe not, because maybe they've explained to him he has a couple years with a brand new quarterback or with a new offense or whatever. You know,
I think Mike Tomlin makes assurances like that. I would see Mike Tomlin saying, "Okay, big guy, this is it. This is your shot. It's your shot."
one would think, but I don't know.
I think it would be. I think it's already implied. I think he probably really feels the heat because he was criticized on national television from everybody.
Well, then let me ask you the big question. Now, I guess the last question and the big question here, because this is philosophically what everybody wants to know and needs to know. What does Richard Bazzy, because then I'll give you my answer. What do you deem success from this year? If we get to January or whenever, and we're sitting here and you're swiveling on that chair with that wonderful cowboy hat on, and you look in the camera and you go, yeah, that was a successful season. What's the bare minimum of success?
Well, I think this will happen. But win the division, obviously, is number one. And I think they will. I think they will win the division. You know how I feel about Jumpin' Joe in Cincinnati. You know how I feel about, I think he's the most
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I think he's the most overrated quarterback in the league. Deshaun, I don't know what the heck's happening with him. So I do think we have a really good team. And I think that it's funny when I see, Mitch Trubisky getting such low quarterback ratings. And it's funny to me because it's not my business. It's not what I do. But I see complete talent there. I see a lot of talent. And you put them around our team and our weapons. Man, I just think I don't know why people I'm thinking, wait, what am I not seeing? Am I that dumb?
Well, I see too many people dismissing him before he takes his first step.
I do too, Colin. And I don't understand it. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't get it. And so I'm wondering what I'm missing. But I don't think I am missing. So minimum success, I say they win a division, but then I'm going to have to go further because I think once they get to the playoffs, I think they win a playoff game, at least one. And I don't
that's it for me. Unless they win a playoff game, I can't. And I don't care what extenuating circumstances are because there's two quarterbacks. There's Mitch Trubisky and there's a first-round quarterback, unless both get hurt and they're playing with Duck Hodges. But unless two quarterbacks get hurt, they have to win a playoff game, or I'm going to sit here in January and say that was a disappointment. Because at some point, you need to take a next step, and that next step needs to win a playoff game.
Yeah, but then I'm going to give you the version of the rationale of, well, Colin, remember, this was the first year we replaced an 18-year Hall of Fame quarterback. We didn't do that great. We didn't win the Super Bowl, but look at how great we did in our year number one after our Hall of Fame quarterback retired.
Great. And I'm going to say this. His skills have been dwindling for about 20 games. And also, this is the window right now because of how much you're paying that defense to win now.
Okay. Yes. So talk about win now. Talk about the Ben Roethlisberger quote that Mike Tomlin said, didn't hear it, no need to address it, don't care about it, where he started to talk about why they didn't have, when they had those windows before,
Right.
the 3Bs or whatever the hell they were, right? And they had all those wonderful opportunities to win. And why didn't they? Because Ben says the me attitude. Now, where'd that come from?
Well, I find it interesting that Ben Roethlisberger said that, because both things can be right. You can point a problem out, but also have been someone who was part of the problem. I find it rather amusing that Ben Roethlisberger pointed out that it was a me generation and a me
Yeah.
culture.
Yeah.
Whenever Ben Roethlisberger's the same guy that hurt his elbow and did a 5-part documentary on the Ben Roethlisberger YouTube channel, produced and directed by Ben Roethlisberger, about Ben Roethlisberger's elbow and how Ben Roethlisberger's elbow was going to affect the National Football League, and then the conquering hero that is Ben Roethlisberger's elbow.
Wait, whoa. This is news to me. I didn't know that.
Oh, yes.
When was that?
Last year at about this very time. And it came out. Ben had a camera crew follow him around and no one else to position himself as a conquering hero. I will text you. Oh, yes, there's a 5-part series that he put out.
Well, that's a little contradictory, isn't it?
It's a lot contradictory. So is a lot of Ben Roethlisberger. You ever wonder why Ben Roethlisberger was never named MVP of his own team?
I didn't know he wasn't.
Not one time. Not one time.
Wow.
As voted on by his teammates. I'm not here to dog Ben, but two things can be true at the same time. One, you could point out something that's a problem, but also not understand that maybe you contributed to it as well.
Or not want to acknowledge it.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's got his own YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah. It was a Ben Roethlisberger production. It was a big deal, him coming back from his elbow.
No, that's terrible. That's awesome.
Camera crew followed him to California.
What?
Yes, just him.
Okay, I'm gonna reach out to Ben. Do you want him on the show?
Certainly.
Let's get him on.
Let's do it.
Let's get him on. I believe I still have his number. He still owes me my closest to the pin prize from a golf tournament like 15 years ago.
Collect.
I intend to. He will say he doesn't. He will say he doesn't owe it to me, but he does.
All right.
I don't. Listen, here's the funny part. I don't golf.
No.
He's really good, like pro good.
Yes.
Okay? Really good. And it just killed him. We were Bruce Arians, Ken Wisenhunt, Ben, and me. And I hit one shot. That was it. And it won the closest to the pin prize. I had to leave, and I asked Ben to pick it up for me. Well, Ben picked it up, but I never got it.
Oh, man.
So
That's trouble.
I need Ben.
Yes. There we go.
Okay.
All right. Well, wonderful week. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you.